So we're going to go ahead and create a pin, actually two of them. We'll create a variable L length that's one length would be 8 millimeters, two lengths would be 16. So it's going to be a multiple of a number. So we're going to go ahead and create a document, and I will call this 2-pin. It is going into my Lego Mania folder, so I'll go ahead and create it. Now, the first thing I want to do is to create a parameter. So here are my variables right here, and I will choose that variable table, and we'll call this variable length. But I'm going to make it based upon a number. And since this first one is going to be 2 lengths, I'm going to change this to 2. And for a description, I'm just going to put a length again. And we're going to go ahead and close this out. So that gives me the parameter over there, or the variable. I'm going to go ahead and sketch on this front view here. And I'm going to go ahead and sketch up above it. And I'm going to zoom in so I'm not so far away. And so altogether it'll be about 16 millimeters. And I'm going to start up above the sketch. And if it's a little long, that's okay. We're going to add dimensions later. I'm just going to go ahead and put it about halfway on each side of that line. And I'm going to make it bigger than it needs to so you can see it better. And I'll come across horizontally, down vertically, come across horizontally. This time I want to go up above the other one, making it taller. Come across to the other side. And when I come down, you notice how it's lining up to the line on the right side. That's going to put a coincidence in there and make those two the same, which is what I want. So then I'm going to come across horizontally about here. And again, I'm going to come up until I get that yellow line across there, and it makes it coincident to the point on the other side. Now, I could come back afterwards and put it in there. And I want to do the same thing here, but in order to find it, I'm going to grab that point. Didn't click, I just kind of selected it, and that aligned it up. And so now I can come down and close it up. And so now I have a closed profile. And I want to add a few dimensions in here. But before I do, I'm going to go ahead and draw a line. And this will be a construction line. And I'm going to come from here down to roughly about there. And I'll come across to the other side, lining up to this point, making it horizontal, and coming up and closing it up. So this is my profile that I'll be using. And I'm going to create another construction line coming from the midpoint. And I want to get the square in there. There it is right there. So I'll pass up. There it is right there. And bringing it up to, I'm not finding it, so I'm going to choose midpoint. And then I can select the midpoint of that line. Let me try it again. I'm just going to come straight up with it. There's the midpoint right there. All right. And this is going to be a construction line. And I will make it perpendicular. All right. Once I have that, I'm going to go ahead and use a coincident point, and I'm going to select this midpoint down here, which should be just to the left of that. I'm in the perpendicular command. I want to select a line command. And I'm going to come from this point straight down here to this point. And I'm going to make that a construction line 2 as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and place some dimensions in here. I'm going to center it on this point here. So I'll go to coincident, and I'm going to select that point and put it on the origin. And since this is equal to the other side, they're connected together. I don't need to make them coincident. And this is connected on the other side, so I don't need to make those coincident. If they are, if they're not, you make them coincident so they move together. I'm going to put some diameters in here. And this is referred to as a linear diameter when I select this line and this top line, and then bring the dimension down below it. You see it jumps into a diameter because I'm going to revolve it. So we will go ahead and put this at 5.4. And that brought it down in size quite a bit. I will do the same thing with this line and this line. Bring it down below. And we'll put this at 4.8. And I'll do the same with this line here and the top. And bring it down below it. And we're going to put this at 6.2. All right, so that's taken care of a lot. I'm going to pull this dimension in here so it's not so far away. And I want to add some lengths in here. So let me go back to the dimension. And I'm going to put them over on this side because I'm not going to clutter up the dimensions there. But we're going to put this at 0.8. I'm going to place this one. And we're going to put it at 6.4. And then I'm going to go ahead and select this one. And we're going to make it equal to the length times eight millimeters. And we'll click OK. So that brought it into 16. Okay, so we have one last, and I'm going to spread these dimensions out so they're easier to read. And they're not equal to each other, so I want to go back and make these equal. And I'm going to make this dimension, this 8, equal to this dimension. And I'm going to make this dimension or length equal to that length. So that constrained those. And the only thing I have left is this line right here. So let me add one more dimension in here. And again, I'll go below it. And we're going to put this at 4 millimeters. So that looks good. Everything's constrained. I'm going to go ahead and finish the sketch. And once that sketch is finished, I'm going to revolve this. And I'm going to select this profile right there. And for the revolve axis, I'm going to select this line right there. And we'll revolve it around there. So we'll go ahead and accept that. I want to add one more feature in here. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the visibility of these other planes off while I'm at it. And I'm going to sketch on this same front plane. And I'm again going to draw it a little big so you can see it. And I'm going to start with a rectangle. And we're going to make it much smaller, but then I'm going to start with a circle. And from that midpoint, I'm going to bring it out to the outside there. And I will go ahead and trim this portion. And I'm going to turn this into a construction line. So we basically have that shape there. Now what I'd like to do is to close this down in size. So I'm going to go ahead and select a dimension on this. And let me go ahead and align it to the center, to the origin first. And I'm going to do that by drawing a line from the origin to the center point. And I'm going to make that a construction line too as well. And I also want to make it perpendicular so it's symmetrical on the object. So I'm going to go to the perpendicular constraint, and I'm going to choose that and make it perpendicular to this. And that kind of constrains it there, so that looks good. So now I could pull this down in size, and you can kind of see what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little piece out there. We add another dimension. And we're going to go ahead and put this at 0.8. And I'm going to go ahead and add a dimension on this line. And we'll set it to 3. And I want to make this edge collinear to this outside edge, or coincident to the outside edge. So I'm going to use or project geometry. I'm going to make it a construction line and select that outside edge. And then I can come in here and use a coincident and select this edge and bring it to the outside edge. All right. I'm going to go ahead and mirror this to the other side. So I'm going to use the mirror feature, and the first thing I do is the mirror feature is to select the mirror plane. And of course the right side plane, because this is the right side on the cube, goes through the middle of it because I set it up so it is symmetrical. So we're going to mirror that. And so now I've got to select the entities to be mirrored. And I'm just going to window around all of this over here. And there it is on the other side. So I got all the arc, the 2 lines, and the line right there. So we'll go ahead and finish the sketch. And we'll go ahead and extrude it. And I'm going to select that sketch. And I'm going to go to the isometric view so you can see it. You can see it's kind of going through the middle out there. We're going to select remove. And I'm going to go in the opposite direction. And I'm going to select through all, so we don't have to worry about a distance in there. And that looks fine. We'll go ahead and accept that. The next thing I'll do is I'm going to make a circular pattern of this. And I'm going to select extrusion number 1. I need to change it to feature. Select extrusion number 1. The axis, I'm going to go ahead and select the cylinder here. And we're going to leave it at 4 over 360 degrees. So we will go ahead and accept that. So now the plane is finished. I'm going to go ahead and turn the visibility of that off. And we can go ahead and close this out. Before I do, I want to rename this part. And we're going to call it 2 pin. And I'm going to put my initials in there, and I want to make a color to it as well. And I will change the name of this up here too as well to reflect that. All right, once that is done, I'll go ahead and right click and edit the appearance. And we're going to go ahead and put it at a blue color. And we'll go ahead and click OK. Now you can use a different color if you want. I could come in here and use a tan color. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we'll go ahead and check that mark. And I'm going to right click and come down here to assign a material. And we're going to go ahead and apply a material to it. And I'm going to go ahead and apply the nylon. And I'm going to rename this. And I'm going to put the color tan in there instead of blue. And we'll go ahead and close this out. I'm going to rename this. And I'm going to name it right here, tan. And put your initials in there. So it matches the name, other name. All right, now the next thing I want to do is make a copy of this. And so I'm going to right click and copy this right here. And I'm going to change the name slightly. And we're going to still call this 2. We're going to call this 3. And I'm going to put it in the correct folder. And we'll copy it here. And there's the 3. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And I'm going to edit this name, rename it. And I'm going to change it to 3. So the names match. And then I'm going to change the length to 3. And we'll accept that. And so it made this part wider. And I'm going to go back to its extrusion here. And we're going to make a change in this. Because of this dimension here, it's making it too long. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this dimension out. And I'm going to place a dimension between this line or this line and this line. And we're going to put that at 3. Excuse me, we'll put it at 4. 5. All right, that looks good there, so we will go ahead and finish the sketch. And that looks good. Now I'm going to go back to the other one and make that change as well. So I'll close this out. And I'll go back to my 2-pin. And the sketch number 2, I'm going to delete this dimension out. And I'm going to add a dimension between this line and this line here. And we're going to put it at 5. And we'll finish the sketch. So now if we change the length again, it won't cut into that center portion. So we're going to go ahead and close this out.